Good afternoon to all. I welcome you all for this afternoon session. Am I audible to you all? Yeah. I hope most of you have gone through the material given to you or any other books on sociology, because we are dealing with different major concepts which we use in sociology. In other words, unless and until we understand these concepts thoroughly, it will be a little bit difficult to understand the sociological perspective and view the society or various social relations or social behavior from the viewpoint of sociology. In our previous sessions also, we were discussing about basic concepts which we use in sociology. We talked about social groups. We also talked about community, society, association. We also discussed about institutions. Let's proceed to certain other concepts which we use in sociology. There are many. Say, for instance, social order is one concept which is used in sociology in order to understand, in order to describe our social life. In fact, the social order concept has some link with one concept from biological sciences, that is equilibrium. When there is a kind of balance between various aspects of our life, flora and fauna, there will be diversity, no doubt, but this diversity always results in unity. We always talk about this type of equilibrium when we talk about plant kingdom and animal kingdom, right? Particularly in the biological sciences. There is a kind of balance. If any imbalance is there, then there will be problems. For instance, if we say a particular animal or bird is on the verge of extinction, we take necessary precautions to protect that bird and animal. Why? What is the reason? If that particular animal or bird extincts, then there emerges a kind of disequilibrium. From this equilibrium concepts, the sociologists use similar concepts in sociology, and they talked about order. Everything should be in order. If everything is not in order, then that is known as disorder. Okay, everything should be in order means, what does it mean? We have to see our society, our social life, or our behavior as a structure, and each and every element of the structure is expected to discharge a function. So structure and function, these are the two major concepts which we use to understand our society. Then how to see the order? Once again, I'm coming back to the original question, or the question which we raised at the beginning. If all units of a structure are arranged in a proper way, let me quote unquote that word proper way, then there is order. If any one unit is not in its place, then there is a disorder. What happens if there is a disorder? Malfunctioning will happen. You please try to imagine your bike, two-wheeler or four-wheeler, or your watch, wristwatch. If all parts of either your two-wheeler or four-wheeler or wristwatch, they are in their respective places and doing the functions which are assigned to them, then your bike will be running, your four-wheeler you can drive, or you can also use your wristwatch to make a note of time. But something happens, something goes awry. Then what happens? You will not be able to use your bike, you will not be able to drive your four-wheeler, or you will not be able to note down the time. Here, organization is very, very important. This organization, when we see as a kind of arrangement of various parts and also understand the functions of each and every part, then we are talking about social structure. We have structural functional perspective in sociology. And most of the sociologists from early days are classical sociologists, whether it is Auguste Comte or Herbert Spencer or Max Weber or Emile Durkheim, all these persons followed social structure or structural functional perspective. That's the reason why we have to study what is meant by social structure, the concept of social structure. I'm referring your textbook only.
Okay, I found this on the web, so that's reason why we have to study what it.
I am going to page number 80, where your unit 4 starts, and the definition of social structure is under 6.2. If you are having your books, please refer them, or else you please try to make a note of these points by keeping a pen and paper with you. Radcliffe, Brown, Malinowski, Sir James Fraser, all these persons extensively use the word social structure or the concept. Radcliffe Brown defines the social structure as the network of actually existing relations between people. Let me repeat once again. Actually existing relations between people, not hypothetical ones, nor pseudo, or not, let us say, which we dream. It is not social structure. If we see other aspects of social structure, we come across sociologists using the word social structure as a kind of synonym for social organization. Right? If we would like to describe a society as a social structure or structural functional unit or organization, what requirements we require, we need. I am once again referring your book only, go to page number 82. Talcott, Parsons and others, they talked about functional perspective and functional prerequisites. Not only them, Park and Burgess and other persons who talked about social processes also said about these prerequisites. In order to understand social relationship, there must be social relationship, right? In order to maintain social relationship, what is needed? That is communication. Unless and until you are able to communicate with each other, either through language or gestures. Why I am using these two words is because we have both verbal and non-verbal communication also. Hence, we require a system of communication. That is one of the requirements. Then the second one is we should live. In order to live, we should eat something. In order to eat something, we are expected to produce something. So we need an economic system which produces, which distributes goods and services. Third requirement is we should learn how to behave in a society. This learning process is known as socialization. Hence, in all societies, there should be family and educational systems. Why family? Family is a universal institution, and we all learn from our family. That is our primary socialization agency also. Without family, we will not be in a position to learn anything. And along with family, we'll be having educational institutions in all our societies. Even in education also, family plays a vital role. Whatever familial values are there, they will be taught in your schools or colleges. If let us say your family is from a tribal community whose major occupation is, let us say, food gathering or food collection, then obviously you will be learning how to collect food or how to fish or how to hunt a game, right? You are learning from some other person, no doubt, that is educational institution. But who saying that you should learn this. Once again, your family. So third requirement for any social structure is family and education. Then another fourth requirement also is there. What is it? We all will have some kind of tensions or confusions. In order to avoid these confusions or in order to get rid of these tensions and all that, we have established an institution, namely religion. And religion does not mean only a namesake, no. There are a variety of rituals linked with religion, linked with family, linked with marriage. All social institutions will have various rituals. These rituals give patterns of social behavior for us. We are expected to follow all these. So for any society or for a social structure, the requirement is a ritual way of doing things. These are the four prerequisites for any social structure. Fine. We know what are the prerequisites for a social structure. But how can we see them? What are the elements of social structure? Let's have an idea. First and foremost thing is people will not live in isolation. They'll be living in groups, right? Our family, it is a primary group. Our friends, once again a primary group. Our college mates, a secondary group. Within that, a very big group of college mates will be having, once again, our friends. That is once again a primary group. We belong to a particular group and we many times distinguish ourselves with other groups. So we are members in in-group and out-group. These classifications we have seen in our last session related to social groups. So the first and foremost element of social structure is social groups. Social structure is not, let us say, some kind of edifice. It is not a superstructure. We can see social structure only in our groups, a variety of groups we are having. And what do these groups do? They establish norms and they also pressurize people to follow these norms. Hence, our second element of social structure is the social norms. Many sociologists describe norms as foundation of social structure. It can be defined as a social rule which specifies a person and his behavior, how we are expected to behave. Here we have to see the importance of culture also. Each culture will have its own ideas, its own social norms, its own values. Norms, just so we have mentioned, vary from culture to culture, but at the same time, we also have certain universal norms also. Say, for instance, accepting various human rights as rights of all human beings. It is a universal value. Give respect to other person. This is a universal value, universal norm, right? It is followed by us, by tribal communities within our country, or in any other country all over the world. We come across this type of values and norms. But here comes a question. How do we learn these norms? How do we practice them? Four aspects determine the learning and practicing of social norms. Let's see what are they. From our childhood, since childhood, we have been learning various norms. Our parents will say, do this, don't do that. Or our teachers also follow the same. Our friends will be saying, our neighbors will be saying, our mass media will be saying, right? Others are enlisting various norms and we are learning them and we are following it. This process is known as indoctrination. After learning all these norms, we will get habituated to follow norms. This is the second stage of learning norms. For instance, let me take a simplest example. Probably at your second year or second year plus or 3 years, probably you were sent to a baby care center or early childhood education centers. That may be kindergarten school or Montessori school or various things. There one particular norm will be taught. You will be indoctrinated with that norm. If any elders come, then all of you are expected to get up, stand up, and wish that particular person with good morning or good afternoon, whatever it is, whatever is the time. What do? I think all of you, until your 10th class, you have followed this particular norm. If your teacher enters the class, getting up and wishing your teacher with appropriate greeting. If you see any elders, not in a classroom, but outside also, then you usually bow down and bring your two palms together and say namaste or similar thing like that. This is nothing but a kind of habituation. You are learning the indoctrinated value. But at the same time, we will not follow all the norms. Some we follow, some we will not. Some we violate, some we will follow. And in a lighter vein, people say rules are meant to violate also. Why? What is the reason behind this? The utility aspect is very, very important. There are umpteen number of values and norms. But are they useful for us or not? We follow, we conform. In sociology, it is known as conformity. Follow various norms if we find them useful. If not, we will not. You might have come across while going to your office or college or going out. If you are using, let us say, your bike, your two-wheeler. Many times, if traffic is very heavy, then what do people usually do? They will not use the road, but they occupy, at least for a few minutes, at least for some time, the pavement, which is meant for, as a norm, which is meant for pedestrians. If they are climbing up the pavement and driving their vehicle on the pavement, it is nothing but a violation of norm. But why are they doing it? Why are they not following the norm? Traffic norms. The reason is traffic is very heavy. They have to reach their office or whatever place they are going, their destination. So the norm that you have to follow traffic norms is not at all useful for you. So the human behavior is that utility aspect will be taken into consideration. Not only that, if one person, let me continue the same example, if one person uses payment, if all others are not doing it, then that person will be looked down upon. But there will be not one person, but quite a good number of persons. When more than 3 persons are there, then it is a big group. Here comes the concept of group identification. Whatever our group is doing, we'll be following it in verbatim. We will not think about whether it is correct or not, whether it is proper or not. No. We always follow group standards. Right? Besides norms, we have to talk about certain other aspects also. In fact, some of the sociologists described them as part and parcel of norms only, that is folkways and mores. In fact, W.G. Sumner talked about folkways and mores. We discussed about them in our previous sessions. They are nothing but norms which we have to follow. Our behavior should be in tune with these folkways and mores. These folkways and mores are described, prepared by our own society or culture. If we violate folkways, severe punishment will not be given to us, though we'll be ridiculed, our behavior will be looked down upon, or we will be humiliated. But if we violate mores, immediately society punishes us. That punishment may be may take various forms that may be sending us to the jail, prison, or it may also lead to capital punishment. In today's newspaper, I saw one news item where 38 members are given capital punishment. That is, a court has given orders saying that they should be hanged to death in Allahabad rights case. Why? What must be the reason? Because there is a very serious, grievous violation of mores. And the punishment also is very serious and very grievous, that is capital punishment. They will be killed. All societies will have such norms, that is folkways and mores. It is a basis for these norms. Even this also we discussed in our previous sessions, but let us make a mention here. Whatever is considered as good by the majority of a society, that becomes a value. And these values are basis for norms. Hence, the elements of social structure includes even social values also. Besides norms, values, and other things, we have another element in social structure, that is status. What type of status you are having? Status is a concept which gives an idea about your position in your own society and also vis-a-vis other societies or the other members. In fact, the concept of status is described at length by Ralph Linton. He described the characteristics of status, and he also talks about how social statuses are governed by norms. Let us see the characteristics of status. There are many indicators or styles by which we exhibit our status. Let us take a simplest example. Let us say you are working as a doctor. So doctors will have a kind of white apron. They are expected to wear it. So this white apron is an indicator of status. Others will not wear it, right? Similarly, you are a lawyer. Then you will be wearing a black color coat. Others will not wear it. You please take anything. If you are a married person, particularly married wife, then some kind of indicators will be there. That may be having bindi on your forehead, or having sindoor, or having mantik, or having black beads necklace around your, let's say, a kind of jewelry piece, let me use that word, or having a comb in your hair. Like that, we have umpteen number of indicators and styles also, how a person is expected to behave, how a person is expected to follow all these indicators. Besides this, other characteristic of status is every status will have its own rights and obligations or duties. What is a right? It can be defined as legitimate expectation. Say, for instance, if I am a lawyer, then I expect that my client is going to give all the information he knows about his case, and that too true information only. So that is my right as a lawyer. Similarly, the client also is having a right. He has a right that I should work on the basis of information given to me by him, file a case, and advocate on behalf of him, not on behalf of any other persons, but on behalf of him. And I should try my level best to bring justice, not to help the client, but to bring justice. These are his rights. And these two rights are complementary to each other. All social statuses are governed by norms, Linton says. Whatever social status we are having, along with it, we also have various norms. Not only that, it is not one status which we have. An individual can have more than one, sometimes 10 or even more than 10 statuses. Each status is different. Each status norms are different. Its rights and obligations are different. At one go, a person will be fulfilling all these statuses. Robert K. Martin uses one word, role set and status set. Of course, we'll deal with this after some time. Anyhow, we are going to have a unit on this. Here, I think it is enough if we say that an individual have more than one status. Then what are the various types of status? Status, just now we said it is a position, right? Society gives this position. If society is giving this position, on what basis? Immediately the question arises. And on this, sociologists, yes. Shravani, please tell me, ma'am. Hello? You have raised hands, Shravani. Tell me, do you have any doubt here? Hello? I'm not able to hear you, ma. Hello? Am I audible to you? Have you unmuted your mic? If you unmute, then only I'll be able to hear your voice, or else I won't be. Hello? Okay, at the end of the class, I think Shravani can ask a doubt because she has raised her hand. After some time, you please once again try to talk, ma. Now, we have two types of statuses. One is ascribed by the society on the basis of certain factors. These factors may be biological factors, or sociological factors, or cultural factors. Other type of status is an achieved one. This we will be achieving. For instance, on the basis of age, we have different statuses. Child, middle-aged person, youth, or old people. Here we are giving this status only on the basis of their age. Similarly, women and men. Even this also is given on the basis of a biological characteristic. On the basis of social relationships or social cultural factor, namely kinship, also we have statuses. For instance, our mother and father. There it is not because of their age, only on their age or sex and all that, but we will be giving this status to them on the basis of the relationship between them and us, right? Whereas in case of achieved status, it is always achievement. What is it you are achieving? Accordingly, your status will be assigned to you by your own society. For instance, in modern societies, if you could earn more and more respect by certain ways, like improving your education, or having a good job, or having business with lots of profits, all these are achieved statuses. These statuses you are earning by doing various activities in the society. Whereas in tribal communities or primitive communities, statuses are ascribed ones. Here, one more concept also we usually talk about, that is mobility. When status is based upon ascription, then mobility is more or less not possible. For instance, if a person is born in a particular community, tribal community, then it is not possible for him to change the membership He cannot go and become a member in some other tribal community. The reason is here the membership in a tribal community is an ascribed status. Whereas, let us say you are going to a particular college. If you don't like that college, you can go to another college and join there. So college membership is an achieved one. Whereas membership in a tribal community or in a community is an ascribed one. Now, let us see other concept which we use along with structure, that is social function. What is meant by function? Function is nothing but doing things, right? That is our, I know it's an ordinary meaning, but even in sociology also more or less similar meaning will be given. For instance, the concept of function systematically formulated by Emil Durkheim is one of the founding fathers of sociology. What he says is the function of social institution. He has not simply mentioned only function. Functions of a social institution is the correspondence between it and the needs of the social organization. In other words, how can we understand function? Function is nothing but working in order to fulfill the needs of our social organization. That is the reason Malinowski, Radcliffe Brown, or Parsons, or other functionalists describe it as a mechanism through which we fulfill our needs. These two are major concepts, but besides this, we have another concept also in sociology. That is social system. If you are referring your books, please go to page number 90. What is social system? It's nothing but a kind of arrangement. Arrangement of what? Arrangement of various social interactions. And on the basis of what? On the basis of shared norms and values. What is meant by shared norms and values? We learn them being a member of that particular cultural group or society. Right? Here, who are the basis for social system? Obviously, individuals. Without individuals, you cannot have any social system, because we are talking about arrangements of social relationships on the basis of shared norms and values. How can we see them in any society? We usually come across various authority structures. We come across we feeling. We come across likeness. We also come across various behavioral patterns which we can observe in our society. On the basis of all these aspects, let us see what are the elements of social system. Sociologists describe these elements by enlisting them. The very first one is we should know about our own society and its norms. And this we can describe as knowledge and faith. We should strongly believe in our customs, in our traditions and all that. Then only we'll be able to follow them, or else we will not be able to do so. By following them, what is that we are doing? We are having faith in our fellow human beings and knowledge of our fellow human beings. We know that our friends also are going to do the same. Another element of social system is we should have certain sentiments. Without sentiments, we cannot have any faith. What is that sentiment? The sentiments may be a variety of sentiments. They may be social ones or they may be notional ones. But whatever we do, whatever we act, we will be doing all these acts or all that behavior only on the basis of a sentiment. For instance, let us take family as an example. We'll be working for our family. Why? I know this question sounds a little bit cantankerous, but you please see the sentiments, the depth of sentiments of friendship is very deep in case of family members compared to the depth of emotion with our colleagues who are working along with us, right? So here, in order to have sentiments, what we do? We learn various details through our socialization about the relationship between us and our family members and various norms, how to behave with our family members. Then the third one is end goal. For what purpose we are doing various activities or our behavior. It is aimed to what? Let me take the same example with the family. We would like to see our family members happy. So what is the end goal of our behavior? Seeing our family members as happy. Similarly, we are paying our taxes, both direct and indirect taxes. What is the end goal there? Paying direct and indirect taxes is nothing but a kind of behavior. But what is the end goal there? That is, our country should achieve progress or development. So achieving progress or development will become an end goal for this type of behavior. Various norms and ideals also we learn and we follow. Then in social system, we will be doing the activities on the basis of our status. That is the reason why we use the word status role. Just now we discussed about what social status means. A person may be having different statuses, like let us say father, brother, or let us say son within a family, friend, or a player, or a consumer, or a particular type of officer, depending upon what type of activities he is taking up. And he will be doing his activities on the basis of all these roles. As a father, he is expected to behave in a particular way. As a consumer, he is expected to behave in a particular way. All these things he'll be doing. And this type of behavior is known as status role behavior. By behaving, he will be given a position, and that position brings some kind of power to him. As a father, he has power to control his family members or determine what type of behavior is proper and what type of behavior is not proper. This is a kind of power given to him, right? So this is about social system. And one more concept is there linked with social structure, function, and social system. That is social organization. Ogben and Nimkoff defined social organization as an articulation of different parts which perform various functions. Or let us say, as the simplest definition, organization is an aspect of interaction systems. Harry M. Johnson has given this definition. Let us see some more reductionism, some more simplest definition. Various parts will be there in a society, right? In an organization, all they show interdependence. So social organization, that word can be used to refer the interdependence of various parts in a society. Many times sociologists use this word as a synonym to social system. But it is not exactly synonym. It is a little bit, certain subtle changes are there. Because in social system, we will not talk anything about disorganization or problems or conflicts, etc. But when we use the word disorganization, we also talk about disorganization, where you are having interdependence sometimes, and sometimes there is no interdependence at all. Even that also is possible when we talk about social system as a social organization. Fine. Besides all these, one more concept we have to see, that is namely culture. What is meant by culture? I think we have discussed about this not directly but indirectly starting from session 1 onwards. Every society will have its own way of life or style of life. And this way of life is specific in the sense of what? Cultural specific, community specific. And this specific way of life is termed as culture. We come across different cultures or diverse cultures. We usually use that word. What is the reason? Let me take a simplest example. Languages are, so many languages are there. All our languages are not same. In Telugu speaking states, we speak Telugu. The moment we go towards Tamil Nadu, they'll be speaking Tamil. The moment we go little bit down, then they are talking in Malayalam. So all these languages, though they belong to one particular family, namely Dravidian languages family, they are different. Within one particular area, dialects are different, right? I'm talking about only one tiny element of culture, that is language. Language is one smallest unit of culture. But like that, you are having so many aspects of culture. It's not one or two. Culture is an organization of various cultural systems. Each cultural system is an organization of various cultural groups. Each cultural group is an organization of various cultural traits. Cultural trait is the minutest aspect of culture. So like this, we are having cultural systems. Now, we usually have, when we talk about culture, we will be talking about two types of culture. One is physical culture. Second one is non-physical. What is physical culture? All those things which we have created for our life, like tools or various mechanisms, devices, etc. All these come under physical culture. They are nothing but kind of tools, that's all. But are they really tools? No. We always assign meanings. We always assign various values. We always assign specific characteristics to these machine tools. When we are talking about the second part, that is our beliefs, our thinking processes, etc., we are referring non-material culture. The first one is material culture. The second one is non-material culture. Let me take a simplest example. On the day of Saraswati Puja during Dasara festival, most of the Hindus ask their children to keep their textbooks and notebooks at a place where they keep the religious symbols, or let us say gods or goddesses images, and worship. So notebook is a notebook, no doubt, right? But at the same time, we are having one particular belief related to the material cultural item, that is notebook. That is nothing but a kind of personification of goddess of education or goddess of Saraswati. So if you worship, if you do puja or some kind of rituals to your textbook or notebook, it is nothing but worshipping or doing rituals on behalf of a goddess of Saraswati or goddess of education. So this particular part, this thinking process, is non-material culture. Here we have to see either theory also. Culture is always a dynamic one. Every society will have culture, no doubt at all. But culture will be ever changing. Whatever culture we have today morning, by afternoon it will not be there. That is the speed of change in any culture. We will not be able to understand that by merely seeing it, because we fail to recognize it. Let me take a simplest example. Of course, not exactly one day or so, but a few months. We usually take, in fashion world, we usually take colors of a particular year. Last year, probably red was a fashionable color, but this year it is not. If you want to see how rapidly our culture changes, let us take one minutest cultural traits, designs. If you go to any textile market, whatever designs were there yesterday are not there today. Whatever designs are there today will not be there tomorrow. Right? You might have observed all these things. Right? What is the reason? Because culture changes. A particular design may be accepted as a part of culture yesterday, but no longer today. Hence, what happens? The design changes and some other design will come. And today's design will not be accepted as a part of culture tomorrow. So tomorrow, once again, there is a change in the designs. Or slang words. Once upon a time, let me use that word. If anybody thanks you, then you are expected to say, mention not. After some time, what has happened? If you thank any person, then you are expected to say, welcome. Now the fashion changes. So here it is only a way of saying things. That is a minutest cultural trait. Even that also is changes. Then imagine how rapidly culture will be changing. If culture is changing, will that be similar in all aspects of culture? Here comes the theory of cultural lag, which was propounded by Ugban and Nimkov. What they said is, we have two parts of our culture. Material culture or linked with physical aspects, right? And non-material culture linked with our thinking processes, beliefs, etc. The change in material culture is very rapid, but non-material culture will not change in that particular pace. What happens? There emerges a gap between material culture and non-material culture. In other words, we will be changing various physical aspects of our life. But at the same time, our thinking processes or our beliefs will not change. Sometimes they are diagonally opposite to each other. Let me take a simplest example. Women's education and women's employment we have accepted. Of course, it is nothing but a kind of change in both material as well as non-material culture. No doubt at all. But at the same time, what about the norms related to the behavior of a daughter-in-law? Have they changed? No. Not much change we come across. Some kind of adjustment we may say. But even today, daughter-in-law or mother-in-law relationship is following same behavioral pattern, right? Or mother and child, we are following the same behavioral pattern. Why I'm giving this second example, let me tell you. See, mother is expected to take care of children. Parents, of course, but mother's role is more. We have a lot of change in our educational institutions, right? You are sending your children to a school. Whatever role a mother was expected to do is being done by the school. Let me take only one minutest aspect of timings. Mothers are accepted to work. They are going for some kind of employment. Their timings are, let us say, starting from 10 to 5. Let us imagine the situation. Whereas children, particularly if they are from, let us say, kindergarten or Montessori schools, their school timings are only from 9 o'clock to 2:30. I think you can see the gap here. Mother will not be available for these children because she cannot come back from her office at 2:30. Then where to keep them? It is a very big question. You have so many other institutions entering into your society. But are they really fulfilling the Functions of a mother? No. That itself is a kind of cultural gap. If you bring radio, Akbar and Nimkov said, if you hear 1 hour transmission from a radio, that brings more than 250 changes in your life in one day. Forget about radio. Now we are in OTT platform stage. You can imagine how rapidly our societies or our behavior is changing. So this is about various basic social concepts which we use in sociology. Social structure, social system, function, social organization, and culture. I request you people to go through your book, or if you have not yet received your book, you please go through some other material. A lot of material is available even in our search engines. You can search for these concepts and try to read them so that it will be easier for you to understand. Is this clear so far? Are you able to understand this? Hello? 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 Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I'm not able to understand, Sravani. Why don't you, write in the chat? Okay, thank you. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, all of you said yes. Okay. Acha, you people are talking about your WhatsApp groups, okay? So if it is understandable for each and every student, shall we take leave for today? We'll meet tomorrow at the same time for the class, right? Okay then, see you tomorrow.